Hello, my friends. This is The Art of Prepping. Hope you guys are doing good today. So recently, CountyComm sent me 2 of their samples of their glow-in-the-dark material, and they ended up sending me 2 of their Trident UGMs, Universal Glow Markers. And I just want to thank them for doing that. It's very kind and generous. Thanks for the support. In this video, I want to do just a general overview of the Trident UGM. And I want to talk about not only just some of the features of the product and some of the uses, but a few tests that I did, a few tests that will give us a little bit more of a data point about the product. And I have a few conclusions as well at the end. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So the retail price is $4.85. It's 100% USA made, and it's laser cut, so that it's very precise. And it's a very compact product as well. It's a 1 inch by 1 inch by 1/4 of an inch. And the glow-in-the-dark compound is strontium aluminate, made by Luminova. And this is a really good quality product. The rare earth elements that make this up are pretty impressive. I was really not expecting the results that I got. This strontium aluminate is housed in an epoxy resin. So it's a very nice housing for the material. It's very, very robust. So this particular material, the strontium aluminate, is supposedly never supposed to wear out. So you can just keep recharging it over and over and over. Not only is it bright, but it lasts a long time. And just to clarify, there's no batteries needed to charge this, just simple light. And you can pick the light source of your choice. Now, this product, is great for a lot of tasks. I mean, the sky's the limit. But for marking and tagging gear, this is a great item to have. You can put it on keychains and zipper pulls, on bags, doorknobs, backpacks. Maybe you are shipping gear, and large cargo containers, and you want to keep track. For whatever reason, you could put these on the cargo containers. You could also put these on gas valves or electric boxes just for easy identification. You could put these in or on your first aid kits. And so there's a lot of things you can do. You can also use this as a signal device. Check this out. So what we have here is a robust, waterproof, crush-resistant, non-radioactive product, non-toxic product that can run more than 24 hours. And it's impressive across the board. It's also a hand-finished product that weighs almost nothing. It weighs 0.17 of an ounce. That's less than 1/5 of an ounce. And it also comes with a stainless steel USA-made ball chain. So now at this point, I want to talk to you about the first test that I did on the Trident UGM. The first test was to expose the product to natural light at random time. And so I just picked a random time during the day, and I wasn't trying to be selective about the weather, the output of light. Was it cloudy, overcast, sunny? I just picked a random time and I just walked outside and just put the Trident UGM out on my windowsill outside and just let it be exposed to natural light. So it just happened to be moderate overcast. Here's some images just to show you what the day was like. And so it was 2:30 in the afternoon, and I left it out there until 4:30. And so 2 hours of exposure. And with that amount of exposure, it did really well, really well. And so it gave me about 3.5 hours of useful light output to read from. Now, I know this product is very small and it's probably not even designed to be an instrument to read from, but I was able to read various things. I had various types of, like receipts and different things that I had set aside to try to read from. And I was able to read from all of them up until about 3.5 hours into this test. Of course, I was in a room that was completely dark in the house, and I would go back and check about every 30 minutes to see, if I could still read from it. And what happened was at about 3.5 hours in, it kind of stepped down just a slight bit, enough that it was becoming a little harder to read from, but I could still make out high contrast letters and words. And this continued until about 6 hours into the test, and it was starting to get a little bit more difficult. And by hour seven, there was another step down to the point that it was just getting a lot more difficult to see anything in terms of words or letters to make it out. But there was still plenty of glow. It was glowing just fine. And so I just want to say that I continued just seeing how long the glow will last. I kept on monitoring it, and it just wouldn't go out. And at first, I was just really shocked. I didn't know what to think about this. When I hit 24 hours, I was expecting it to be pretty much just diminished, but it wasn't. I mean, I could easily see it at 10 feet. And I was just kind of really scratching my head here of like, what is going on? And it hit 36 hours, and I was still able to see it. Somewhere between like 6 to 10 feet, I could still see it. And it was still glowing, and it was getting quite dim at this point, of course, but it was still visible to my eyes, and which is very impressive. Now, when it hit 48 hours, I stopped the test, but it was still glowing. It was still glowing. Now, at this point, it was very dim, and you could only see it from maybe 4 or 5 feet away, but it was still going. And I really don't know how much longer it would go. I wouldn't be surprised if it had at least a handful more hours in it, but it was still going at 48 hours. So I'm extremely, impressed. And what I did do, though, at hour number 6 is that I took it outside. And of course, where I live is in a rural area. There's no street lights, and it's just completely dark. I mean, there's just nothing out here. And I put it on the mailbox. And just to let you know as well, it was a very overcast night, and there was no stars, no moon to be seen. It was just pitch black. And I put this universal glow marker, the one that I've been testing, on the mailbox, and I walked away from it to see how far I could go and still see it. And I got to about 20 feet. And then I did measure it, and it was about 20 feet exactly. And so pretty impressive. And just as a comparison, that same night, I used the other universal glow marker they gave me and gave it a quick charge, 2 minutes under cool white LED light from a handheld light. It was 500 lumens I put on there for 2 minutes. And then I set that on my mailbox, and then I walked away from it. And I was able, on a 2-minute charge, to walk 510 feet. Let me tell you that again, 510 feet, and it was still visible. Now, it was pretty much, once I stepped beyond that, it would kind of diminish. I couldn't really see it anymore, but I got to about 510 feet. And I was just so impressed. I didn't know what to even think about this. Now, I did go back in the morning to make sure that measurement was correct, and it was. So I just want to put that out there. This product is really different than what you may think of, when you think of glow-in-the-dark products. Now, I have another test, and this is a test that I did with a handheld light, and this particular light put out 1,150 lumens, And I did this exposure for 1 minute. 1 minute of exposure with 1150 lumens of cool white light. And I thought to myself, this is really practical because not a lot of people are going to put their markers, their glow markers out on the windowsill for hours. Or, most people are going to probably just hit it with a bit of light, with a flashlight, and just kind of use it that way. So that's how I did this, just to keep it really practical. Just a minute of exposure with some really bright light. And this is what I found, that it was usable for reading for about 2.5 hours. That was really impressive to me. Now, after which, though, it was becoming a lot harder to see the words to the point that I could only see high contrast and larger words when I was trying to read. And so I got up to about hour number 5, and then I couldn't really see words anymore. It was just really almost too dim for that, where I could almost make out some of the letters, but I just couldn't read with it. So once again, I just went ahead and let it just glow in the dark room as I did before, and it went beyond 24 hours and it was still glowing. And I went ahead and just ended the test because I don't really, well, at this point, I didn't really want to spend another day or two just trying to wait for it to kind of just diminish. But yeah, it actually goes beyond 24 hours, at least the samples that I have. Okay. And I also have another test that I did, and this was an indoor light test. In my house, I have different types of LED bulbs. And so I have a soft glow, which is just like a more warm light. And then I have full spectrum white light, which is kind of supposed to mimic daylight. And so what I did was 1 hour of exposure to my soft light, my soft glow. And these soft glows have like the 40 watt equivalent, to an incandescent bulb. And I had them about 5 feet away from the bulb. So I had that for 1 hour. And then I went to another room and I switched it up and I put it about 4 feet away from my full spectrum bulb. So I did that for an hour. And that one is actually a 60 watt equivalent to an incandescent bulb. So that was a full spectrum LED bulb. And this is what I found. So it was usable for reading for about 30 to 40 minutes, roughly speaking. I kind of say 30 to 40 minutes because at the 30-minute mark when I checked it, it was fine. But when I went back at the 1 hour mark, it diminished enough that it was really hard to read. And so at this point, though, I could make out some of the high contrast words on the paper, but that was only able to be done for another about an hour. And so what I found as well is that it kept on glowing past even 24 hours. Now, it was very, very dim at 24 hours, but I stopped the test after 24 hours. So these are just some simple tests that I did, and I came to a conclusion, and I just wanted to share that with you. So what I would recommend, in a way of how to use this, is to use natural light. It seems like it really likes the natural light more so. And after all this test, there was a day that did have some really nice, bright, natural light. The clouds moved out of the area, and I hit it for about an hour with some really good direct sunlight. And I'm telling you what, it really performed the best in that situation. So it just loves natural light, but it will run on any light, it seems like. So now the question, though, that a number of you guys have, messaged me about is how much time do you think it takes before you can really charge it up all the way, get it to its capacity? I'm not so sure about that, but I could take a really good educated guess that I think that 30 minutes could be enough. But what I found, though, just to be on the safe side, somewhere between 1 and 2 hours really does well in direct sunlight. And of course, it just depends how intense, it just depends on how intense the light is. But if it's really bright, natural light that's just directly on that that Trident UGM, I think you're going to be just fine within an hour. Just to be on the safe side if you want to do it for 2 hours. But I think 1 to 2 hours is really a great range of time. So I just want to thank everyone for your support, and thank you, CountyComm, for sending the products. It's been a real blast. This test, this whole video, it took a while to put together, so thanks for your patience. It's just a really interesting product, and what's so cool is that they have other different types of glow-in-the-dark products. Some of them which are a lot larger, which can put out a lot more light. And so I'm really interested in getting some of those. So I may place an order soon to get some of those other products and just kind of test them out in my own little way. But very fun stuff, very fun. So hey, thanks again for your support. We'll catch you later.